All right, welcome. We're getting ready to get into the book, Atomic Habits. We're going to start with a question from chapter 1, which is what types of systems can you build to create successful habits? So where this comes from is everyone has goals. Every team has goals. An NFL team at the start of the season, they all want to win games. They all want to win Super Bowls. However, the difference between winning and losing isn't necessarily the goal itself, but it's the system that is implemented in order to achieve that goal. So I'd like to sort of throw the question out there. What types of systems can you build to create successful habits?
All right. Before I get into sort of answering the question, this idea of a system reminded me about a course that I took. It's offered by MIT. It's called Business Dynamics. And I remember the course kind of started out saying, in an organization, in a workplace, there are a lot of complex things going on. And what this course is trying to do is, again, they use the word system to break it down so that you understand how each of those pieces affect each other. Right? Some help sort of improve things, and some negatively impact the things. So that course is trying to help us identify what are the areas that we should be pay more attention to, and how do we sort of strengthen certain things. So I think this is really connecting with the book about Atomic Habits, is because they also, the author James Clear also used the word systems in here. So for me is what type of system can help me is, first of all, I need to understand what are those pieces are, that are blocking me or preventing me from reaching my goal, and then able to really focus in on each piece of it, right? To see how can I strengthen each of those pieces, improve on each of those pieces, and then it should lead to my final outcome, my goals. And if not, then I need to change, not necessarily the whole thing, but maybe one piece of it and tweak it. And then, of course, the rest of the book covers a 4-step process or areas that we can improve, and we'll be talking about that more over this series. Anjanette?
For me, I think it's the necessity of a system, period. When you try to habit form and you're trying to accomplish something, for me, what became very clear while reading this book was, without a system, with a sort of willy-nilly, I tend to be rather willy-nilly when it comes to processes, that achieving whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve becomes it becomes a victim of circumstance and time, or lack thereof. It becomes a victim of distractions. And what's becoming very clear to me as I try to integrate the atomic habits and the systems that James Clear presents is that it is so critical, like it or not like it. I need to take the judgment of the systems itself and whether I like it or not out of the equation, that if I want to achieve something, that I have to incorporate a system. So I think my answer to the question is a little bit more abstract, that it's really, you need to say yes to the system first before, and really do some analysis about whether or not you currently have a system and whether it's working or not.
Yeah, it's a good point. And when you think about it, systems is interchangeable, system, mechanism, whatever you want to use to sort of describe it. But I think you want to look at the end goal. You want to look at the components that make up the activity or the actions that need to take place, and then you want to, you can bring them out. You can pull them to pieces. You can examine each piece. I think in the book it looked at the racing team, and it looked at the British cycling team, and they got a new coach. And for the history of the British cycling team, prior to when this new coach came, they were one of the worst cyclist teams in the world. And they hadn't won any Tour de France's. They were just perennial underdogs. And I think that the author even cited that certain bike manufacturers wouldn't even sell them their bikes because they didn't want their bike to be associated with them. Well, when they got the new coach came in and he basically did a top-down analysis, and he looked at all the different systems and all the different subsystems that it took in order to compete in a race. He looked at the tires, he looked at the types of shorts that they wore, he looked at pretty much everything in order to make a decision on improving each of those little small components. I think the book then cites and says, hey, look, if you can make a 1% improvement every day, at the end of the year, you'll be 37 times better, right? And so he systematically broke the various components of cycling into small components and then made minor modifications, as Simon suggested, which really helped to amplify the performance of the cycling team. So the book, of course, provides that example in our lives, in our business, in software development, in technology, in banking, in construction, in pretty much everything you do. You can always look at the end result. You can always look at the inputs in order to get there, and then you can make modifications and adjustments in order to prove each of those components.
And I think one of the things that James Clear states in the book is that when you fix the inputs, the outputs fix themselves, and not to be so focused on the results, because if we're always looking at the goal, what is that, the score chart or whatever it is, scoreboard.
Yeah,
then through the game, then we're not going to be paying attention to the game. And one of the asterisks that I think I want to add to this whole systems approach is that it's pretty tough to systematically look at your own systems, right? If that makes sense. To have someone come out from the outside to look at how a team like the racing team is operating and to mechanize that is so much different than taking a critical look at the processes and mechanisms that we're already incorporated into our lives or haven't, and then change incrementally what we're doing better for the better. So I think that that's something that's different. And one of the things that's stated in this book is that we can't habit form without self-awareness. And for me, that was something in the book that was highlighted, is that we have to become self-aware and in a non-judgmental way, because it takes a whole lot of self-compassion, I think, when we start to form good habits and take a look at this habits scorecard as we continue on in our discussion.
I think you raised a really interesting point. Is I don't have answers for is, we tend to be more critical of ourselves, but would it be enough to identify the areas that we need to improve? Would it be, I guess my point is, even like you say, the new coach comes in, he can see things from a different perspective. But we have been ourselves for so long. Are we in the best position to analyze our own problems now and able to say, all right, these are the things that we need to change, right? Yeah. So I think I don't have answers for that. So maybe it's something that we can take away and really try it, and then maybe we can bring it back in some future, videos to talk about our experiences with that.
An interesting future video, I'm not saying that we would do this, is to have our spouses start to take a look at our current systems and perhaps what needs to change.
Oh, wow.
what habits we think are not bad habits might be bad habits.
Yeah. Hey guys, of course, we are the M3 Collective. Please don't forget to like,
comment,
and subscribe.
By doing so, you'll receive notification when we drop new videos.